How's it? Sean from Combat Simulations. Welcome to my overview and tutorial for Pike and Shot Campaigns. Alright, so before we get started, please subscribe to my channel, it's free, and also leave comments and suggestions. And watch my videos, and like them and share them. It helps me a lot, I promise. So what is Pike and Shot Campaigns? It's a detailed, accurate, realistic simulation of warfare during the periods from the 16th and the 17th century. In other words, the Renaissance period, when men fought with long pikes and guys, and they had infantry like musketeers that fought with arbquisiers. I can't pronounce that name, but like muskets. And the reason why they fought this way is because the muskets at that time, I mean, this was when gunpowder was discovered, and they fought with muskets with the blocks of pikemen, is because the muskets weren't accurate. They couldn't shoot anything with them. They just aim at a mass target and hope it hit it. They were very inaccurate, and a lot of the times the stuff used to blow up in their hands, and the artillery used to blow up. So very primitive musketry. Now, it's the intermediate period between medieval, when they went into the gunpowder, and just when the Napoleonic era came. You know, that area there, late 17th century, where they were able to fight where they were able to get rid of the pikes because the infantry got bayonets and stuff. Now this period covers the between periods between that, while this weaponry evolved over that time to what the new period was with the muskets and that. I'll be explaining it. Now, this game, if you look at Richard Scott is the developer, and he developed Fields of Glory 1, Fields of Glory 2, the Japanese ones, Segeko Jidai, all around the same sort of rules, but for those periods. So it's a tabletop port of a game that's on a tabletop to digital format. Like if you look on my channel, Lock and Load, same sort of thing. So it's ported, so with all those rules and of the tabletop taken care of by the computer. Wonderful, because now you can play the game, like I said in that overview, you can play the game with pure tactics. You don't need to worry about what the dice rolls and all the stuff that's going on. The computer works us all out. This is one of the most fascinating periods, because in this game, it's like a history lesson. You learn how the guys, like for example, in the early battles that you fight here, and I'm going to show them to you now. I'm going to do the tutorial. I'm going to just do a little tutorial, just show you how the sequence flows. You'll find when the early battles, when they still had the crossbows of this era, and the early pike and shot, and how they were getting used to it, how they're getting used to this fighting, and you'll find you'll play a game in that era. And then in the late 70s, as they were transitioning over to the horse and musket of the Napoleonic, that area type, you'll find how differently the game plays. How differently. It's a game, I've never seen a game model the technological advancements of an era in such a detailed and complete manner. You'll find that you play those modern battles. You're used to playing the early Pike and Shot, and you start playing battles, and you got to use completely different tactics. You got to think completely different. It's like playing a new game almost, because of the way tactics, and the game shows it to you. I can tell you now. You can. I'll put everything on a block, and I'll tell you straight out. There isn't a game in the past, and there isn't a game today, or maybe not, that's going to come in the future, that compares to this. For this period. And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll show it to you. You could go look. But if you look at the price of the game, I mean, on Matrix, it's about 400. It's quite steep. I mean, it's old games, 2015. And you look on Matrix. I got my copy of Matrix. I've had it for a few years. I know how to play this game. I'm not an expert at it, but I know how to play it. It's not like a game I'm just learning. I know how to play this game. And it's coming on my channel soon. But if you look at, to get back to Matrix, it's about 700. I think I paid about 600-700, and the price hasn't changed. The reason is because of the quality of this game. They haven't made anything for this period that comes close to this in terms of everything. This game has represented every nook and cranny of this period. And you'll see all historical battles. Just to give you an example of the historical, because I'm going to go into the. I was thinking when I just to get off the sidetrack. I was thinking when I was doing this overview, how was I going to do this video? So I think I'm going to go through a tutorial just to show you how the game plays and how the sequence flows. But just to show you now the 30 Years' War. You remember between the Catholics and the Protestants, the Italians, the Swiss, the Germans, the English were involved. The English Civil War, everybody knows, the Protestants and King Charles, English Civil War, the Italian Wars, and Tertio de Salvo. Now, each of these historical battles is represented, the main key one. So if you go in here, just to give you an idea, you can fight every major battle of the historical war. Okay, there we go. So Pilgrim, Battle of Pilgrim Lomets in Bohemia. And it gives you and you can fight this entire battle. And it's got all the battles of that war represented. There's English Civil War, Italian Wars, and then there's the tutorials. But let me just go back to the main screen again. So, as I said, when I was setting up this video, I wasn't sure how to start. I thought I'd start with the skirmish and the campaigns to show you, but the best way to start this game is to show you how this awesome off-the-charts game works, is to go to the tutorial. This is the best way, because it has a skirmish map, okay, which I'm going to go through now, which is a random map. You could fight periods, armies that weren't historically involved against each other. I'll show you. It's off the charts. I'll show you now. It's got campaigns. Now, the campaigns is the best campaign system in the game. In all the Fields of Glory games, in all the games that Richard Scott has developed, this is the best campaign, except for Segeko Judai, which follows a similar pattern as this. Best campaign. You know, they watered down the campaign in Fields of Glory 2, where it's just now. I don't know why they did this. I don't know why they left this campaign format, because this thing adds so much to the game, and it's so well done for this type of game. And I know why they left it with the maps. I'll show it to you now when I'm finished with this tutorial, but I just must mention that. And the Fields of Glory ones now are just like from one battle to the next. So you're just fighting battles, and then you're fighting battles, and then you're fighting battles. This is a real fleshed out campaign. Not like Total War or anything. It's not that fleshed out, but I'll show it to you. They've got multiplayer, and it's an editor as well. It's off the charts. You can change anything in the editor. All right, so before I get thing there, let's do the tutorial just to show you the flow of this off-the-charts game. Okay, so I've played all these tutorials, but I'm going to start with the first one. This one just based somewhere in Germany, 1640, Protestants and the Catholics, and during that war. This tutorial just basically goes over the interface, whatever, but I'm going to play it out. I'm going to get rid of all the interface just to show you the flow and how they've developed and how the game actually works. Anybody that knows the same format, exactly the same, works off of POA, points of advantage systems. That's the main core premise of this game. We just go in here. Usually this I must show you the screen here is where you pick, if you get different forces in skirmish and some of the battles, you can pick reinforcements and you get a point system here, but I'm not going to go into that detail. So I'm just going to get rid of all these tutorials, because they're going to pop up all over the place explaining your interface, and I don't actually want that now, because I want to show you the flow of the game. You can, when you get it, when you go and buy it, and I promise you should go buy it. I'm not fishy, like trying to beat my own bat, but I don't play games that aren't good. I really don't. You won't. I bought hundreds of war games in my life. I mean, I'm 58 years older. I'm an old bully, and I've played games from the early 80s. I mean, I had a Commodore VIC-20. I started programming it, and I don't know what it's been, my luck, or it's been how I approach this, but I never play a game that's not authentic, that's not a good game. I don't know why. I'm not trying to beat my hat, but I always tend to end up with games that are off the charts, that play realistically, and they're good games. You'll see on my channel, all my games are off the charts. They're really that good. So this is one of them. And it's coming on my channel soon. I'm just busy with those other games at the moment. All right, so now you get the battlefield. This is a battle of somewhere in Germany, whatever time, right? So we are here. This is our side, and that's their side. Okay. So it's like between the Catholics and the Protestants. So the interface is very simple. You've got these pikes over here. You got some horse over there. And you got some, and he's got the same. He's got his pikes and his quality, and you can see on the battlefield, if you look here, it says here, this is the close combat rating is 156, and the shooting attack is 48, and the armor. So it gives you a little summary. If you hold it on the opposition, it's also got the same. So you can kind of get an idea of how you'll fight against them. But you've got to take into account the quality and all this type of stuff as well. But that's just the surface bits. If you look here, you get the detailed combat parts of these games. I mean, I'm clicking on the control. Let's just take that horse. And this is the help function. The manual's extensive. You can go through the manual, teach you how the mechanics of everything works. Brilliant manual. And also some of the tactics and how to fight this. What I love about the manual, this 2015 game, is they put in the tactics of how to fight, how these guys fought in this period. It's fascinating, bro. It's fascinating how these guys fought with their limited technology in this period. So, for example, if I control, I'm just giving you an idea of the detailed information you get of the capabilities of each and every unit. You can tell them before you fight. So I would be able to look at what I'm up against. The early cannons, what do they do? There's the description, the capabilities, the shooting, the impact, their melee capabilities. Now, the game's very similar to Fields of Glory 2 or Fields of Glory 1, that whole system where it's working on a POA system. So the game measures the quality, the armor rating, and it measures that type of unit with its men and everything on impact and melee ratings, because the game's impact and melee. It's the guys. Impact is what advantage you get when you charge into an enemy, right? And then after that charge, what is your melee capables? Like it'll tell you, and I'm just going to briefly read all this. Pike plus 100 PA versus any mounted. That means it gets an advantage against a mounted unit if the pikes are not fragmented or severely disordered. Now, each unit in the game, and there's hundreds of different, because this game evolves the pike and shots as they go. These pike and shots, as they stand here, evolve into kill. They can be kill, which has got a lot of pike. They can be tertio, earlier tertio. Now, their different pikes give them different capabilities. Some of these pikes can't be flanked. Some can. Some of these pike blocks can't be flanked. Some can. Some can't be flanked and rear attacked. Some of the earlier tertios were such big blocks. They were covered by, the pikes covered the whole block. And the musketeers were covered all around. You can't flank them. You've got to wear them down. So the tactics for each, and they may look like little blocks to you, but let me tell you, each one of them has their own, and they can evolve during a battle, not just only in the history of the game. If they lose men, what I love is that they tell you how many men accurately is in the, like I said, there's 480 men. See where my mouse is? That's the amount of men that's there. It's not like represented by figures or whatever. That's the amount that men's represented in them. Now, if this thing loses men, let me tell you, it can devolve in status. It can stop being a pike. It can just become musketeers. It can, and depending on the ranks and whatever, as it takes casualties, it can devolve in its status and capabilities on the battlefield. In terms of what it becomes, like becoming, if it's a kill, at the end of the fight, it could have devolved just to pike. Down for pike. Now, kill and pike and all this sort of thing has different capabilities against each other. So it loses its capabilities and evolves into new capabilities as it loses men and stuff like that. This game models all of this, just like the Fields of Glory setup. You know, the way they do that also. Very, very, love the Field of Glory too. Now, this thing works exactly the same way. And it takes into account not only the casualties, but also the mix of the unit. It's 66% of that 520 strength is musket, and 34% is pike. And the casualties are calculated based on what percent of the men lost. This percentage go up or down as they go. And I hope I'm explaining this. There is so much tactics modeled in this game. Fidelity. how to use your pike, where to put your pike. Pike gets disordered in the trees, the terrain, different types of terrain, how it affects the quality of your troops, how the fighting impact of their troops. The status, the morale status. I mean, you get steady, disrupted, fragmented, and broken. But it takes a test whenever it fights, depending on the casualties that it incurs on the opponent and on itself. And when it routs, all these units around it take a cohesion test, and they might rout as well. And they can face ways to protect their, like different different facings to protect their flanks and their rear. And I love the fact that they've developed this it's not hexagonal. Like most war games are getting hexagonal. And the developer explains this in some of his work. He explains why it's not hex. He explains why he keeps the square, not go hexagonal, because he can get more facing fidelity from it. If you look at this, a hexagonal can only get those facings. But if you look at this, the way the facing is, look at those little triangles. Look at the front, then to the left, 45, then to 90. Do you see? He gets 8. So he gets more fidelity on the battlefield by representing it by squares. That's why they do it by squares. That's why they haven't changed, because they're getting more fidelity, more intricacies from that. Just some of the stuff I wanted to mention, because I really appreciate the Fields of Glory, the Richard Scott, and how they've developed this game from the tabletop version. And you can imagine the tabletop version it's not a board game, it's a war game. You can see the figures. It's off the charts. I play tabletop war games. I've played them, and I belong to a war game club. I never go back again because I can't stand the rules. It gets in all the dice throwing, yardsticks, all this type of stuff just stands in the way. That's why I love computers. They brought this in and have taken all that stuff away from me, and which I don't want, which I hate. But I appreciate it, and I'm glad that they brought all those onto the digital, because games are going digital. I can tell you that now. All right, and the artillery as well. There are different nuances. Cavalry can either be the way they used to fight in this period is they would advance their pikes, right? And they would advance it towards other pikes or cavalry, whoever they wanted, and they'd advance it and try and destroy the enemy with their pike, but they would wear them down as much as possible with their muskets and then protect themselves. The cavalry, and try and get on the flanks of everybody else as well, but moving in these blocks. Now, these blocks are vulnerable because they're massed men. So under fire, it's brutal. You're gonna see with this game. You'll see the casualties involved under fire. But that's how they fought. They had no other way to fight. They couldn't fight any other way. They couldn't fight because they couldn't fight in the trees. Countryside doesn't have lots of trees. I mean, lots of countries have open. They have to be able to learn how to fight in this type of way, and it's so well represented. Cavalry, for example, how cavalry changes. In the beginning, they used to, because they got these little pistols, right? These little firearms that they have to reload manually, put the ball in there, and it takes 3 hours. I'm exaggerating, but you understand what the Oaks carried a pistol in his pocket, in his holster. He carried one in his shoe, and he carried one in his hand. That's how he went with these guys with a horseman. And initially, they thought this is how their tactics were. In the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, they used to ride up close to the enemy, or say they'd ride up the cavalry, ride up close to the pikes. They acted a bit like dragoons. They'd ride up close, right? They'd ride, well, not close. So they get to a place, and then they dismount, and then they go there and they shoot, or they ride there with the horses and they shoot the pikes. And then when they run out of all their 3 shots, they'd go back and reload over there. Then they'd run forward. And you see that in the pictures. You see the front pictures. This guy's they're not trying to charge the pikes because they never can't get through the pikes, but they try to cause damage. So the cavalry used to charge up to about just before they get the pikes and then shoot all their ammunition out and run back. And then reload over here and shoot that. That was the earlier part of the cavalry because they didn't know how to take these oaks on. I mean, you could take oaks with pikes and musket fire, close range. How do we get through there? Then they evolved with this whole thing. They decided to say we can go into melee. So what we'll do is we'll use our pistols in melee. We'll shoot first. We'll shoot first at the outside as we ride in. On the impact, we'll shoot, and then we'll go into melee and use our second other pistol and shoot in the melee. It becomes part of the melee. Like when they sword fight, it becomes part of that. This is how fascinating these guys fight. They didn't know any different. They were trying to evolve tactics to win fights. Fascinating, man. Such an off-the-charts. I love this game to bits. Love it. It's one of the best games I've ever played in my life. It's such a good game. Now, I'm just giving you an idea of the different artillery. I mean, this thing, the way the game represents this is fantastic. I mean, those periods, these things used to blow up in their faces. I mean, they take a shot out, they try and shoot because they were just look at this, look at these. These are medium cauldrons and stuff. They couldn't hit anything. They couldn't hit trees. They were so inaccurate. So they used to just be like a fear type of weapon. They would hope to hit them, and they could only shoot. They couldn't move once they were unlimited because they're so big and heavy. So they place these in the battlefield and then shoot and hope to hit something. If they didn't, they try and cause. This is the fear of shooting this artillery because this weapons is all new to these guys. They were still developing. They didn't know. But as you see, as you play the game, I promise you, when you play all this stuff, you each. If you, I'll give you a suggestion. When you buy this game, and I know you will, it's that good. If when you play the game, start in the beginning, the first earliest battles, go right to the beginning and start fight all historical battles up to the end of the by the 17th century when this sort of era fell away, and you will notice the battles start to change. They start to get different because each battle, each era, and each battle slowly brings you the technological changes as they happen. The pikes get less. They still carry the pikes, and the musketeers get more, right? But they're not so good in melee, but they're good in shooting because the weaponry gets better. But the pikes are still needed to protect. The later armies in this period. They lose they carry less armor. In the beginning, in the early periods, they were armored. They had armor ratings. But you see the later periods, they start to discard their armor. Even the pikemen start to throw their armor away. They stop wearing the armor, and then they developed. I was reading. They developed. A bayonet when the bayonet was developed. Now the first bayonet, how's this for you? They could put the bayonet on, but then they couldn't shoot with the weapon. They couldn't shoot. They didn't have the bayonet tied around the barrel. They had the bayonet that went into the barrel. So you put the bayonet into charge, and you can't shoot with it. You can only unless you pull this bayonet out, and then you can shoot. So then they evolved obviously to this period now. You know, the horse Napoleonic. You know, the American War of Independence. That period there. Then they put the bayonets on the sides, but they didn't know that. This is how they thought, oh, we put the bayonet in, it's like a pike. So you see all that in this game, and they've just done such a fantastic, awesome game. I know I'm rambling. I haven't done justice to this. I promise you, I probably made lots of mistakes, and I'm probably forgetting how intricate and realistic this game is for this period. Okay, so basically, I'll just give you an idea of just on the map, on the normal battlefield, you can toggle the top view. So you can play this game from the top. Okay, so you can you don't want to see the side and you've got a top, which is great for, seeing. There's not that sort of a 3D view. You can see precisely where everybody is. So if you don't want it, you can take it off. You can show all the casualties during the battle. Okay. You can view your pike squads on this battle. I mean, I can't believe it's a 2000. It's so damn good. I love the line of sight because each unit has line of sight. So if you click on a unit, you can see what they can see. And the game represents fog of war very well. I mean, you'll see the fog of war. But this enables you to see what this guy can shoot at in front of him, what he can see. I love that feature. And then you can toggle through all your different units. In essence, in a nutshell, how the game plays, what you need to do in a scenario is you need to rout 60% of these units in order to win it. Because the games in these periods, that's most of the objectives of the games. In these periods, armies that were less than 30% of their force on the field had run away. So this game, basically, your main criteria is to rout 60% of his units while keeping yours alive, and he will give up or he will just retreat from the battlefield. And that's how they fought in that period. So it's a very simple objective sort of. There's your mission info. Very, very simple. As it says at the start of the Swedish turn, troops routed, and you can see the Catholic routed. You can see your progress over there. Okay, but it's not always in stone. The scenario does have different objectives as it goes. You've got to take buildings, fortifications, and all this type of stuff. So, but this is the main sort of common sort of objective of a battle when you fight it. I'm just thinking of anything else. No, oh, one more thing. All right, so if you press Control, you got detailed options on. It tells you the capabilities of the unit. Mixed musket. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'm just going to go through it quickly again. It tells you the capabilities. Musket 66%, pike 34%. It tells you the impact. If you're used to Pike and Shot, Fields of Glory, you'll understand the impacts, and works on a POA system. It's not complicated, but it's beyond the description of this video. So you can watch out for the games I play, and I'll explain that when I do the tutorials in full. It's separate videos. But basically, you've got to understand there's a POA, point of advantage system, that each and every unit gets. And they get them and they lose them as the capabilities of the units change. Like your mixed foot here has got 66% musket and 34% pike. And during the game, as he takes casualties, he can lose that capability. He can be, if he was a pike, he can lose his pike status. And pike status has certain capabilities. Kill is another form of pike. Early tertio, another form of pike. Your pike generally can't, a lot of them can't be flanked. Okay, some of them can be flanked. They can attack them from the rear. The earlier tertios, I think it was a Spanish invention where the pike was protected by musketeers all around it, and you can't attack it in the rear and on the flanks. You don't get a bonus for attacking it. There's no rear and flanks. It can't be attacked there. It can be attacked, but there's no bonus for it. And then you get your pikes that can be attacked from the flank. Some of them, and it can't be attacked from the rear. And you get some of them that can be attacked. If I'm not mistaken, because I haven't played, even though I had this game for about 2 years, I haven't played it for about 2 years. I mean, I went and searched it out of my archives. I haven't played it for so long because I've been so busy with all these other games. So, yeah, I'm a little rusty, so you can help me out with this. But each unit has this armor rating. They've got a capability, like I said, and they fight according. And you can look at your opponents as well and see what his capabilities is, which is brilliant. And you then want to match up what you have against him. Okay. And you got to look at the quality, whether it's raw, it's veteran, the current strength, because strength matters in the game as well. When you fight, you lose men and you lose strength capability. This affects you in melee combats and in shooting. This is all factored into this game. All right. So I think that's enough. I think I'm not going to go into the in-depths, but you can see the detail. Let me just get that off. You can see the detail when it comes. It gives you a nice description. This menu chart is off the charts in ways of explaining it. And you can see each unit can have more. It can have melee and it tells you here what it's good against, what it can't be good against, what you need to avoid, it gives you all this information. So you don't need the manual. You can look at this and play it. Okay. And another thing I just wanted to explain, these units take cohesion tests, steady, disrupted, fragmented. I don't know if I mentioned they also can get broken. And when they do tests in melee, they affect the units around them as well, and they can break. There is one thing I must say about this game. And I know I'm going a little bit back and forth because I'm trying to get my thoughts together and hopefully give you an idea. What in this game they kept what they call as anarchy charge, which I love, which they've taken away from the later versions of Richard Scott's games. Anarchy is realistic. It's realistic. What that means is your unit attacks this unit over here, right? This unit routes, and this unit goes on an anarchy charge. He charges after him, and he can follow him off the battlefield. And especially if it's Carol, he can chase him. And the thing with this game is that there can be other units here, so he can chase him. This unit can end up in behind the enemy lines and get flanked and broken itself. And you can't control it. It's realistic. Realistic. It's what adds to the dynamicness of this game. You don't know. You want to charge the guy, yeah, but you see, my God, you're going to crack him. You're going to crack him. But you got enemy. let me give you a better example. You charge him, yeah, but you got oaks all around you, and if you charge him, he breaks, and you pursue him, he might pursue him right into the enemy lines, and that unit's almost dead because he will be attacked by everybody that's in there in his flanks, and he'll lose that unit. So you got to think, oh, geez, no, I don't want to charge this now because I don't know if I can count on this guy to hold himself. Reflects the period. Cavalry used to charge. They used to charge these guys and charge. Some of these cavalry charge them off the battlefield, and they don't come back for a while. They might come back a bit later. Some of them will charge, break the guy, and if while they're pursuing this guy, they might decide on the way to charge somebody else and expose their flanks over here and go into melee, and then the next turn you find one of this guy's units, he now decides, boom, into your backside, and you buggered. You've lost that unit. And Nikki charges. Hey, give me more of it. It's realistic. It what adds to the dynamic nature of this game. It's what I love about it, and it's so realistic. They took it out for playability. People hated it. Don't ask me why. I don't know what game they're playing. Maybe they like to play computer games where they can win all the time and it suits them. Doesn't reflect history. Doesn't reflect. And I like to have games that are realistic and reflect history. That's important. That's why I play these games. I want to see what it's like to be these guys and fight with their capabilities. That's my whole goal of my channel. That's why I play these games on my channel. You'll see that on my channel. All right, so let's just start. I know I've said enough now. I don't want to get everybody all tied up here. Okay, so I'm gonna advance him there, and I'm gonna advance him over there. And terrain's important because sometimes you get disordered. Cavalry in rough terrain, whatever, gets disordered, and that counts as a penalty. And I'm just gonna shoot with our artillery, yeah, so we can just get a playthrough on how this game works, and I'll explain it as we go along. Okay, so I'm finished with that. Let's end the turn. And there's various phases. Residual phase. Let me just cancel that. You can, when you get the game, you can go read that. Melee phase. So now he's advancing and shooting with his pistols. Now he's brought his pike down here in the open here, but I've got much better quality pike. Okay, much better because it's a tutorial. You win this easily, but it just gives you a nice to see the capabilities. Now, he did manage to get 5 guys over there. Very bad for horsemen, artillery in this game. You target horsemen with artillery, you're going to rout them. Okay, so it's simple. I've got a. When I right click on there, it gives me. Let me just see if my. I just want to make sure my options. I want them on detailed. I don't know why it switches it on to. Detailed. Okay, so when I want to attack him, I right click, then it gives me a detailed breakdown, just like all Richard Scott's games. Detailed breakdown of the win lose. You see the win draw and the lose, and in the melee, if it goes to a second round, what do I get? And the POA advantage for impact, you see, and the enemy horse for impact. He also has impact because he's also carrying those pistols. So, not a lot of them don't. So I'm going to take this because the odds look good for me, and then it gives you an advance, like it's telling you what actually happened here, what happened there, how did you get those results, and you can read this. It tells you it's indecisive because it was going to be mainly a draw. Now I'm going to attack with this guy here, so I should get a 29 and a 4 loss, and I should win the melee. You see 42%. Let's go. Now he's fragmented. So what he did was he lost, and then it goes and tells me why he was fragmented. I had a good quality. I had an advantage there, and all the things that are added up for it. So he's fragmented. So he's gonna break now. This guy I'm gonna do the same because I can see I've got a 67% win and 0 loss. Now this percentages doesn't always work out like that, but that's war. And I should win 29% of the time when I melee. But you see, I didn't get that. I got an indecisive result. So warfare is like that. Shit happens. You know, it doesn't happen like you want it to always happen. I'm going to shoot with these guys. I'm not going to. I'll wait until he gets closer. Then I'll attack him. So it gives me the casualty result. Now he will shoot because he gets a chance to shoot in your turn, and you get a chance to shoot in his turn whenever you move. So I'm going to turn him. I'm going to just turn him, yeah, to face that way, because he's going to come closer, and I'll have a shot at him. Now, your facing's important because you have an arc. If he's off your 45% arc, then you get a penalty to that. Like, for example, here, it tells me full arc of fire. So I could have shot at him with full arc. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, that, and then you get the casualties on that. Is there anything else I want to move? I want to shoot with this artillery again because it's bad for the horses. All right, so let's end the turn. Now then it goes through the melee phase. Works out the melee. He's fragmented. Now he's going to break now. And you'll see the anarchy charges there. Now he breaks. Now watch this horseman. He'll chase him. Gives you an explanation. And he breaks. Okay? Now I'm chasing him. Both those units are chasing him. Now they will chase him. Let me tell you. Okay, let me. So I'm shooting now. Because I'm allowed to shoot in my face. Getting the casualty. And he's disrupted. Okay, good state you want to give me. He's barely me. I might barely him, I might not. Now you see the situation I'm involved with here. Let's just finish the residual stage. You give you a small idea of the tactics. Okay, I should have done something to him because horseman artillery is devastating with horsemen in this game. Okay, good. Now it's my turn, Swedish turn. Now I'm chasing him. I can't do shit with him. He will follow this guy off the field and go with him, or he'll follow him down here. This guy might attack him, might not, depending on how he probably will, depending on the odds he fancies. But if he doesn't, he'll keep following him. Now this guy can come in the behind, and I can't do nothing with him. I can't stop him. It's called, as far as I know, it's called anarchy charge. Realistic, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. This is how they fought war these days. All right, so I can now melee him. So we both get impact. So that means I've got an impact of 100. Well, I should have an impact if I'm not mistaken. No. Okay, no impact. Okay, we've got no impact. We only have it against horse. If you read here, it says only we get 100% impact versus any mounted, not against ordinary pike itself. But I still have enough. He's disrupted, so I should break him. So I've got to make a decision here. I've got to make a decision because the cavalry. Infantry doesn't pursue as much as cavalry does. It'll pursue for a certain period and then it'll stop. But it doesn't pursue as drastically as cavalry does. I'm going to go so I'm going to keep these guys in the back. Okay, so I didn't get anything there. I was hoping to break him. This guy I'm going to actually fight because I'm going to get I'm just wondering if I should fight with him. Or should I fight with him? I can't. I should have actually fought with him and then gone in with this guy, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to attack him in a melee because I've got better chances in the melee as well later on. And this guy, I'm gonna move to there. Oh, hang on, let me just move there. Okay, I'm gonna move there, but I'm gonna have to wait. Yeah, I can't turn. I don't have enough movement points to turn. I need to bring this guy up. Okay. So he can help there in the back. And I'm going to have another shot. Okay, now he's disrupted. So he's buggered. Okay, cool. That's my turn. Now he should break down there. And he breaks. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to pursue him. You could pursue him all the way off the battlefield. These guys, I don't know, they didn't pursue this time. Okay, so we won that fight, and we won that fight big. He's disrupted over there. He falls back. Sometimes he doesn't rout, and he affects. Every time he takes a morale test, he affects the guys around him. Okay. He's just doing his tests, residual firing and all this type of stuff. Okay, so we do our melee check. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch this guy to face there. Sorry, and to face one more time there. And he can't do anything until the next turn. I'm going to follow up with this guy because I know he's dismounted. So maybe I can force him to make a decision. I'm going to shoot with this guy. These guys didn't pursue this guy off the field, which is great. Now I'm going to attack him, and he should rout. Now he'll pursue him. And I want this guy. I actually don't want this guy. I want this guy to keep following him up there. And I'll write this guy off the field. So there he goes. Flank attack. I should. There we go. Now he's gone off the. He could come back at any time, but he's off the field now. He's pursuing. That's what it is with this battle. I didn't do anything with the commander's shot. These are dismounted infantry that are used in later periods, like this period, to protect horse. Because horsemen were also very vulnerable against pikes and everything, and they had this fascinating period. They developed a system where they got dismounted musketeers that would go into the open field and everything and fight close to horse. They would fly. They would be like they shot. So they'd move with the horse would protect the musketeers. And the musketeers would be moving with the horse, and they called a commander's shot. And he was going to protect the horse. So you got to realize that those are tactics you got to use in this period because they work, and that's how they fought. All right, so I can't do anything. It's the end of my turn now. This melee is still going, and it'll tell me what the expected win-loss of that is. So let's just finish that so I can. Okay, let's just have a look closely. Now he'll resign now, because I mean it's a tutorial. It's for if he's not resigned already, I don't know, but it's going to come now, just to give you an idea of how the thing actually fights. Okay, he's lost heart. All right, because he's 60% casualties. It gives you the victory screen, and you get all the capability. They even track the wounded, the captured, the deserted. This helps in campaigns as well. Captured, guns lost, all this type of stuff. All right, so that's the flow. Now that's a small battle. You imagine some of these big, large battles they used to fight with like 50, 60,000 troops on the battlefield. The mounts of pikes and different types of pikes they fought with. And advantage and all of that. I mean, that's just just to give you a taste of that. All right, so the game has skirmish, off the charts as usual. You can play any war, Civil War, British, English Civil War, and it'll set up a random battle for you. And you can pick whether they must attack or defend, who's going to attack, the size of the force, the size of the map size, agricultural, hilly. Who do you want to play? So if I say you can potluck, you can. If I take this off, I could play with different. How's this? Look at this. Parliaments and Scots, 1644 to 1646. Can you believe it? Look at that. Different. I'll just take that off so it keeps it. That keeps it a start. Cornish regiments, 1943. Different army setups for different times. Different armies that people used at that. The guys used at that time when they fought in the Civil War. You can pick them there. If you take this off, you can fight the royalists against each other. The Scots Covenant, which is a royalist. The new model army. Potluck, the computer takes it. Royalist Edge Hill against the royalist raiders. As you can see. And then you pick. Yeah, you would pick your force creation. And if you created it, I'll just create it for you. Let's just get back to historical. Let's just say the royalist Scots royalists, okay? And then you create this battle, and you can pick the size of the forces of each. And when you create it, anybody with Fields of Glory experience will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you pick them. There's your force quality. There's your amount you can pick. And you decide with the numbers what you're going to pick. You choose according to the quality. And it tells you on the right there, you see what type of men you're picking for that time period. Let me just see if I can. I'm just randomly going through the stuff just so that I can give you an idea so you can see what it's like to set this thing up. So you get into this. I'm just going to take that. And there you go. Scots Royalists. And it's your setup turn. And there's the battlefield. You don't know what he's done. Now you can see the size, how this thing can get off the charts, right? You've got Scots Highlanders. You've got Pike and Shot. You've got veteran Pike and Shot. You've got the Scots pistols trained, each one with its own capabilities and uniqueness for the battle at that time period. Can you believe it? English Civil War, the Royal Pike, and all of your different types of pike. Like some pike, well, depends on the area that you fight. Some pike, sometimes the pike variations are different. They're more kill, and there's a whole lot of nuances with this. So I'm gonna get out of here just so that we can. Let me just. Where's this thing here? Retreat from battle. It's gonna tell me I'm. This is. He wants to reduce it. I'm gonna keep it like that, and it gives me the amounts and everything. So there's the. And you can do this for any war. You can do it for any of these wars here. 30 Years War, which is the default, and then you can pick. Just give you an idea, the Imperial or the Pro-Imperial, and then you pick your armies. Auto, okay, default. And then your various, and the historical filter is on. And you can fight against any person in this period at this time period. And you can pick the dates and times. You can get a historical. You can fight the Transylvanians against the Danish, and whatever you want. And here's your picking on the side. That's it. Now the cookie jar is getting opened with campaigns. Campaigns have to be the most underrated thing in this game, and they threw this system away with the Fields of Glory. I don't know why. It's Fields of Glory 2. They thought they could just make a start end point. You just fight battles, and this as Sengeko Jedi still recreates this. And you can pick the different area where you want a pike and shot. I'll just do a brief. So I'm just going to pick this area, yeah? And we'll pick enemy will be Swiss, and we'll be the French. And we have an anti-imperial, and we'll keep the filter on. And forces initial, I can set up all the player, but I'll just go in. Okay, here's the campaign. Now I'm going to give you a brief overview of how this campaign works. It's just off the charts. A really good game that I don't know why they threw the system away. Each province has a supply point. And depending on the seasons, you get tax from each of these provinces. I'm just giving you in a nutshell. You can raise armies in the provinces you own, right? And there's your power balance. When it becomes him in the power, then the game ends. Where he's has more than you. You can raise armies in provinces depending on the supply points available and what you have available in those provinces. What you can raise. The provinces give you treasury, they give you tax, and the enemy provinces you take over give you tax, and they also give you supply. There's also supply. So if you march into an army and it's just been fought as well, this also happens. If you fight in a province, it degrades the quality of the province, the tax ability you can get from the province, and you can send reinforcements. I'm just going to take reinforcements in there. If there's no armies, you besiege it. He can reinforce it in later turns. And you take over the province, and then it starts to earn you tax, but less tax than normal. It has seasons. I'm not. It's like you got early spring, late spring, all this, and then it's done in each season is a turn, and then each season certain crops grow. The supply is the highest in certain seasons, and it's not. I mean, this game's about recreating battles. I mean, come on, who would have thought of this for a campaign? This game's about recreating actual historical battles. Then they've gone and put such a kick-ass campaign in it to represent it. I mean, they didn't have to. The game covers the battles, historical fights. That's good enough for what they're giving you in the game. They've gone and they took this away. They took this away. Anybody who hasn't played this game or the Japanese one, they took this away. I don't know what pipe Richard was smoking, because this was fantastic. This thing, and it's historically created. Okay, you don't get an historical setup here with like a historical campaign, but you get a dynamic campaign, a campaign of how it would be at the period. So now, for example, I'll put that over there. I'm going to advance there. Just give you an idea, and I'm going to advance in there, right? And it gives me the has been driven off. Okay. And whatever, and I'll probably besiege in there. Now I'm going to end the turn just to give you an idea, so that we can see how the flow of this. So he will then move, and he'll come here. The computer works out if it's strong enough to face him. But now I've got to fight a battle here. Okay, So I can start the battle. I can auto resolve it, but I can start it to fight the battle. And I'll just give you an idea. Then you actually fight this on the battle map. Can you believe it? And you pick your forces. Your forces are here, and you say okay, and then you've got your setup phase. I don't think I showed that but I'm going to show it to you now. Where before the battle I can move guys around and set up. I've got an area, and you get this in Skirmish. I don't think I highlighted that properly, but there you go. And then you start, and you're on this map for that period, whether it was hilly or whatever, and it's generated a map for you, and his forces are there to fight, and then you fight. Okay, he moves, you move, and all. Everything matters in this game. Terrain, height advantage matters. If you're on a hill and he's charging up the hill, you get advantages to your POAs. Now he's just advancing his units. I will say the AI is smart in this game. It's good. AI was decent, pretty decent. It'll try and attack you in the flanks. It'll definitely have a go at your rear. It moves its units intelligently. Sometimes, a lot of the times, if it's on high ground and it's safe, it won't move. It wants you to come to it, and it won't move until you come to it. So it forces you. The AI is smart enough to realize that it needs to force you to assault it. You find many scenarios where I'm like playing. I'm hoping, maybe I can get him to come off his hill. No, he'll sit on this hill. He'll sit on this hill and he'll wait for you because he knows he's got it, and you will have to assault him on the hill. The AI in that way, a lot of games don't recreate that in that way, but the game is smart when it comes to that. As far as computer opponents go, and it gives you a good damn challenge. I've lost many games against the AI on this because of the complexity of the game. And for example, I just wanted to give you an idea. This is the French Italian. Now each nation has its own unique pikes. This is kill, immune to ill effects of flank attacks, and you get early tertios and late tertio, which is from the Spanish, which is immune to flank and rear attacks. But that was the early tertiary. But that thing is with as the game, and you see the technological advantages as the game progresses. That block of pikemen from the Spanish, that early tertia, is not valid anymore as time goes past. It even though it can't be flanked and attacked, it's like a moving fortress, but it can take a smashing as the technology evolves. And as they change, as they less pike and more musketeers, as the muskets get better. So this is a French-Italian version of a kill. This is basically what a kill is there's no muskets, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't played it for a while. It'll tell you here. It's got heavy weapon and pike. There's no muskets in it, the kills. They're pure pike. It's got this heavy, these long arm pole things. I think it's these, I don't know what they call them. It's longer than a pike, but it's got that heavy weapon in there. That's how they fought. That's how some of the nations fought like this. And then you have to fight the other nations with their heavy pikes. And depending on, like these are Swiss halberdiers. Halberdiers. My pronunciation is terrible. They've got their own unique bits and pieces. And then they've got the Swiss kill. There is a Swiss version as well of their grand armies are very much like the Italian. Well, they're not Italian necessarily, but a lot of it's like the old knights of armor moving away from the medieval periods. I think this is early period. Oh, there you go. So this is what happens. You fight this fight. Okay, and then I'm going to retreat from battle, otherwise it will just exit me out of the game. And you get your thing, and then it reflects it on the map. Okay, and all the casualties you suffered, and he now controls that. But he's now besieging that, and he can't. Remember, the supply in the campaign is modeled that you can't advance armies, big pike armies, too deep into enemy territory because of supply. The campaign models this. There's a lot in the campaign I haven't explained. Okay, good. Look, I'm just giving you an overview now. You could go find it out with the awesome manual that they produce on this, and playing the game and all the tips. But you get the gist. I hope you're getting the gist of this campaign, of how this thing works, the campaign. I'm going to exit it. Yeah, I want to exit the campaign. Okay, let's just get back to... And then you got multiplayer, and you got a kick-ass editor where you can change everything. I think I tried to cover it as best I could. I know I didn't do justice to this, and I'm trying to help you understand what a kick-ass awesome period this is. If you just get into it and you understand, you want to see how these guys fight. There's so many tactics, so many awesome ways these guys had to fight because of their limited capabilities. And I love this period. I love all periods where there's combat. This is one of the periods I love. I didn't know much about it when I originally got the game, but then I learned it because I played it quite extensively. That was a while ago, so I'm rusty on it. But I love it, and I'm going to be picking it up. It's coming on my channel soon. I've just got other games I'm still busy with, so my time is limited, but it's coming. That's why I'm showcasing it. Go buy it. Go buy it. There isn't a game, and I'll say this again, there isn't a game on the market today that has been on the market or is going to be on the market, or unless somebody decides that recreates this. Forget about Total War. They don't even come close. They're not even in this game's league. These are the heavy hitters when it comes to this. This is the bar. Let me put it to you. For this period, and what they've done, this is the bar. This is the bar for this period. Nobody has set the bar for this, unless they decide to make a Pike and Shot 2. And the game is pretty complete as it is, because I mean they've captured all the combat rules and everything in it. So unless the rules change or whatever, but this is it. So I love this game. The Japanese one is also tops off the charts. Same type. They've kept the campaign like this, and it's just for Japan. Sengeku Judai, top class. And all the Field of Glory games. Don't get me wrong. I love those games. I'm also going to be one day playing those, bringing them onto my channel, because I love Ancient Warfare as well. But the thing is, I just haven't got around to it. It's an intense game. It's also one of the best they ever made. I'm just sad. And I hope the developers hear me. I probably won't, because I got such a small channel. But maybe one day, when I've got a bigger channel, like maybe 20 billion people on my channel, maybe, before I die, maybe if they watch this, they would see that this campaign, I don't know why they took it away. They just downgraded those games, Fields of Glory 2, by taking this away. What was their thinking? Nobody knows. But they've really done a great thing with the campaign. They should have just kept it the way it was. I love the campaign on this game. All right, I think I've covered everything. There's nothing else. I'm sure I left stuff out. I don't want to ramble on too long. Go buy this game. It's off the charts. It's the best game ever made for this period. It's reasonably expensive. Don't get me wrong, but there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. Because the game is so kick-ass. It's worth every penny now in 2023 as it was worth every penny in 2015. I can tell you that now. When I bought it 2 years, I didn't even think twice, because I knew that this game was quality. Yeah, really good quality. Love the period. Love the way the guys fight. All right, yeah, I think I've covered everything. Sean from Combat Simulations. Please subscribe to my channel. It's free. This helps me bring more of these overviews and bring videos onto my channel. And also leave comments and suggestions. And if you like the video, like it. Helps me a lot. And share it. And watch my videos. This helps even more. All right, until our next video, until our next overview, whatever I put back on my channel, good day on you.